Okay, thank you everyone for joining me today. And today I'm going to share a few news that I find out interesting during this week. The first one is it's on Forbes, and the title is Bank of America gets more bullish on Apple, says augmented reality headset will be a game changer. Okay, this news was written by Sergei K. And then I would say the overall point is that Apple will release their augmented reality or VR. I would say mixed reality headset because it seems like it's AR, but you can do VR as well. So their AR headset by the end of 2022 or early 2023. And we all know that Apple usually, like before, Apple always the pioneer, but right now Apple just wait until the last minute and launch something, kind of like not really innovative, but just gather around all the information and trying to come up with a really nice user experience headset. But when Apple launch their stuff, it's usually that everyone wants to buy. So yeah, so I think Apple kind of gets the really, so it will be the game changer in the future. So I think this is a very interesting things because you see that Apple is and as far as I know that you still need to power your iPhone to use your AR headset. And this means that if Apple release their AR headset around 2023, it means that the world needs to start filling out with 5G. So AR VR application can be processed pretty well. And then also people start thinking about, Apple stock will be definitely rock because of the AR headset. Okay, so any thoughts? Do you want to share your thoughts for this?
I think it's very interesting. The news has really been heating up lately about this Apple AR stuff. And I recently did a lot of research on 5G for some phone purchases. And that is one of the big things that people are waiting for is they say, well, I hear all these wonderful things about 5G. Where's the applications? Where's the hardware and so forth that we're going to use with this? And so I think everyone is sort of expectedly waiting on Apple for these types of things. Hopefully they don't wait till 2024 because it may be too late, so they have to sort of get on the train and get things moving on that. But one interesting thing that I found when I was doing the research is the T-Mobile 5G networks are twice as fast on average across the country.
Oh, wow. T-Mobile, that's very impressive because I have T-Mobile and I know in some states my T-Mobile won't work because there are not a lot of the satellites or something.
You have 5G or 4G?
No 4G, but as far as I know that T-Mobile in some place you will get pretty good signals, but in some place you will not even receive anything.
Well, that may vary depending on whether you're on 5G or not, because everyone is trying to build out their 5G networks right now. And I think the 4G LTE will not grow in the future. That's going to be the thing that they sort of leave behind. And I know here where I live, we were getting poor signals on Verizon with 4G LTE, but now we're on 5G with T-Mobile and our signals are fine. So, so anyways, it's an interesting thing. And the reason why T-Mobile has the advantage right now is because when they bought Sprint, they got a bunch of bandwidth in that purchase, and that gave them enough bandwidth to do good 5G. So, so that's what's going on.
Yeah, I think 5G is definitely something that people, you see like I saw a news that SpaceX just shoot, I don't know, 52 or like a lot of satellites to the sky right now. So to the orbit right now. So yeah, that satellite will definitely enhance the Wi-Fi, or enhance the 5G acceleration. But the only thing that I'm concerned is that there are so many trash on the orbit. It's just we just saw a bunch of things, and now few thousand, few millions of small things trash, and they might crash.
Yeah, once you get a crash, you could have sort of a domino effect, and it could really ruin all of our satellite communications and so forth.
Yeah, we just have too many trashes and probably need some cleanup. Yeah, so I would say that 5G is definitely, and I saw, I don't know, maybe it's a rumor or something. I saw that Tesla is about to launch a phone.
Oh, really?
I don't know, maybe it's a rumor, but I saw on the news. Yeah, so it's very interesting that yeah, like like the phone, and then satellites and 5Gs and metaverse, right? Because we really need a, go ahead. Yeah.
And Apple wants to launch a car. So
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, the very interesting thing is that the entire world is pretty much connect together, and through 5G and digital twins, right? Because metaverse is pretty much, we have another digital identity. Yeah, today I saw another news which talks about people like women being harassed inside metaverse. And yeah, that's kind of like, I would say it's hard because nobody knows who you are, right? And you can change your avatar, and you can be anonymous, right? And then in VR, some people, I would say the first time I used VR in old space, and I got banned because because I accidentally hit a button that I had not intended. I'm not really familiar with VR social meeting at the moment, and I accidentally hit a portal button and teleporting the entire team to another place. I don't know why I'm so powerful. I can do that. I feel like that's the host can do that. But I do something that interrupt the entire meeting, and I feel embarrassed. And later on, I keep apologize to the host because I kind of messed up the meeting, and and it was all professional. I feel so embarrassed, and later I got banned. I saw like my list, I got banned. I couldn't get in anymore, and I feel like, yeah, I mean, it's just accidentally. I don't even know. I saw there's a button, and it's kind of like I just want to play around and see how I can do with this interface while people are talking. I just like play around, and I didn't realize that button will cause the entire meeting got shut down or something.
Well, so, there's sort of a trend here that you can do just the slightest thing and get banned or whatnot from things. For example, right now, email seems to be getting worse and worse. I noticed from my website, if I send out emails, even to people on Gmail now, there must be somebody else on my web hosting provider that's sending spam. And my servers must be blacklisted, because now all my emails are going into the trash folder to Gmail accounts.
Oh, that is very common, because sometimes I remember one of my accounts, every time I couldn't receive a few certain people of emails. For example, like I got invited to speak for events, and I was waiting for the details, and then I didn't receive it, and I text the host, and it seems like everything she sent went into like a junk mail. I was like, hey, that is so important. Why you label or categorize that to the junk mail? Yeah, so yeah.
It's like you have to send it from a Gmail account in order for it to be received by a Gmail account nowadays.
Yeah, it's very interesting that like right now all the stuff, and especially metaverse, right? This this entire digital world will definitely get the most out of you information. Why? Because you see, in physical world, if you disconnected any electronic device, pretty much people couldn't track you, right?
Right.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, you see like, a lot of stuff that people couldn't find, like unsolved mysteries, unsolved murders, right? Yeah, because sometimes something you cannot track. But in digital world, every little single things you do in the digital world can be known by the host, right?
Right.
Because you are in a digital form. Yeah.
Which also leads to, I don't know if you received it. I sent you an email about an article about an AI program that NVIDIA is writing called Megatron Transformer. Have you heard about this?
No.
Okay, I sent you an email about it. Maybe we'll talk about it at the end.
Yeah. So I would say that you see that it's interesting. You see, like sometimes when you send me email, I couldn't receive it, or my email were too many emails.
Yeah.
Every day I receive at least a few hundred emails.
I know, it's so hard to get through them all.
It's impossible. And sometimes I miss the most important one, and I open something that is kind of shiny but not important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so this is the first one, which is Apple will be the game changer in the future when they launch their AR glass. The next one is Adidas. This news is on The Verge, and the title is called Adidas is launching an NFT collection with exclusive access to streetwear drops. Okay, this news is on The Verge and by Jacob K. So pretty much in this article, it talks about Adidas, and I can tell you, I saw Nike was getting into NFT and release bunch of NFT shoes for sports promotion. That was the previous one, but now Adidas is getting into NFT again, like as well. Yeah, because you see like all the sports or all the street wears, all the brands, fashion brands, they are trying to push their brands into this digital world. So the interesting thing is that you can pretty much buy NFT, the limited editions design in the digital forms. So the interesting thing is that if you can see my picture, on each wear, it has a code. The code which leads you to kind of like a digital access to the NFT. But I think when this news released, Adidas probably haven't think through the entire how they are going to execute it. So from this news, it seems like there's no NFT form for this T-shirt, but you can pretty much like the NFT will sell for probably around 0.2 Ethereum or about 800 USD through Adidas website. So Adidas didn't tell people that whether they are going to charge the loyalty fee or not, but it seems like they are NFT buyers will get access to digital and physical Adidas products and experience. Yeah, so at first, the physical goods will include the tracksuit worn by Indigo, a hoodie with a blockchain address on it, and an orange binder. And this is a very interesting. So basically, you can buy the physical one, but there's a digital twins and through a secret code on the T-shirt, right? And you can get the digital one. And right now, it doesn't really have the NFT form showing up on the site. People still don't know what it will look like, but it seems like Adidas is kind of trying to bring their new wares or limited editions into NFT, so people can purchase it. yeah, any thoughts, James?
I think we've been going through sort of a speculative phase with NFTs, and that is, brought some really high prices to some things.
Yeah.
And I've talked to friends who are artists, like recording artists and so forth. And my guess is that NFTs in the future will become sort of a vital part of selling your own creative works. And they're a good way of providing provenance and authenticating works of art, and also selling a bundle of rights. I do a lot of 3D photography, which would sort of lend itself to NFTs, but you have to be very careful. You have to make sure that you own the rights of what you're selling. There was a great legal discussion of this on the B&H website. And for example, when I do a lot of shooting in studios, I have non-commercial releases from models, but those models may be represented by agencies. And so I have to be careful. If I was to sell an NFT of shots of a particular model, let's say in 3D, then I need to make sure that I own all the rights to that stuff, because I can't sell it with commercial rights because I only have a non-commercial release. So you have to be very careful about that. And then here's a crazy thing that they talked about in the legal discussion: make sure that the Ford Motor Company logo is not in your NFT, because they will sue you. They are very particular about the appearance of their logo and things. So oftentimes you'll see a Ford vehicle in some TV show and the logo will be blurred out, because otherwise that production company will get sued.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that, like we have such a very strict license or like laws for, our property, intellectual property. For example, like all the props, right? If a film need to be shoot, and they need to make sure they didn't, shoot anything that is not, legal, or, like they didn't own that thing. So there are a lot of fake props, right? And how about like NFT? The interesting thing is that I saw some news. It seems like someone took someone's tweet and make an NFT and sell it. And it makes me wonder that, because NFT, as long as you own it, you don't have to be the one who produce it, as long as you own it, right? And this will be really confusing that, it's like, in this real world, you own it by, physically get it. But for NFT, you own it by, you got the code for that, right? And you don't have to be necessarily produce it, as long as you get the, entire, I still don't know how it works, but it seems like there is a public key and private key. If you own kind of like both, you own it, right? So it's, go ahead.
This has been a big issue on Instagram with people taking other people's creative works that have been posted on Instagram and putting them together and creating new things and selling them. That, legally speaking, that's called a derivative work. And if you own the copyright to something, then you own the exclusive right to create derivative works of that thing. And somebody else just can't do it. There are certain free use applications. For example, if you're doing something with education, that gives you a little bit more leeway of using a copyrighted work. If you're doing it for satire, that gives you a little bit more leeway of using a copyrighted work. But otherwise, just putting together some art from somebody else, and that other person's art is still recognizable in what you've created, that's considered copyright infringement. But it's been happening a lot with social media.
You see, like social media, we haven't solved the physical world's problem. And imagine in the digital world, it will be more anonymous, more, more people, because it's so hard to see the identity through the digital, digital world, right?
Right.
So, and there's no rules, no laws, no regulation. People still don't really know how to behave or how to, be inside digital world. I would usually say we will figure it out as long as we go. But like now things start appearing like problems, or things start, the problems start showing up. Even though NFT is such a, I would say, decentralized economy is such an appealing concept, because today I listened to WSJ, the bank is going to raise the interest. I feel like, like, oh God, in this economy system, bank is always the one who profit, right?
Yeah.
No matter you have inflation or whatever economy raise or whatever happened, bank always can get a lot of money out of it.
Yeah.
So I feel like, if doing the decentralized first, bank will not be happy, right? And second, I know there will be a lot of, the power trying to stop it, but I know that, people still want freedom. I see the fighting between it, and I see right now we are probably in the really high level of everyone is talking about NFT, and at the end it will be bubble, something like a .com bubble, but the bubble will tell us how to fix all the bad things, and it will slowly go up, right? It will become bubble and going down and going up. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just something like.
I think in the end, NFTs are going to be a vital way of selling and getting value out of your creative works.
Yeah, and I would say that the concept is great, but how we can implement those, we need to kind of test it out and see how we can deal with the dark side of evil, the
Right.
dark side of humans,
Yeah.
and trying to regulate it and
I
make
agree.
it. Yeah, because right now, we release the technology itself, the concept is great, but how can we regulate and make sure everyone feels being fair, or not being ripped off in this, NFT world? I
Yep.
would feel like, and it takes some time, right? At least 10 to 20 years. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so this is the second news. And the third news will be, I would say, this one. This one is called Neuroscientists are using virtual reality to unlock a whole new world of brain research. This news is on Fast Company. Fast Company, yeah. Okay, and then this article was written by Connie Lin. So how it works, pretty much the neuroscientists start using virtual reality to kind of testing people's emotions. So for example, like before, usually the researchers will let the patients or the users to see bunch of images, bunch of some stuff, but because it's not that immersive, right? Sometimes it will not be that accurate. And then they find out that once they put the patient inside a virtual reality game, such as in here, they put the participants like VR glasses and transported them into the cars of roller coaster ride, so they can feel the entire journey. And the brain researchers start looking at their emotional level. So for example, like the participant will get through a mountain landscape, and then dash through the flames of raging fires, and finally landing on near the edge. It's kind of like trying to create a really excited journey, and for the participant to kind of experiment, and then the neuroscientists will start using all the equipment to kind of estimate or to start getting the information for the emotion from the participants' emotion, some emotional levels. So this will really helps neuroscientists to understand the rhythm and the patterns of the brain waves links to the emotional excitement, and also some other parts of our brain, the degree of excitement. So in the future, they can also be able to predict the strength of those emotions by identifying which which parts of the brain will be involved. So this will really helps everything, since you put the participant in the digital world, and everything that participant interact will have a digital record. It's more accurate when compared to the traditional way of research. So I think this is kind of something pretty awesome, because like this will helps neuroscientists to understand our brain. Yeah, any thoughts for this?
I'm working with multiple displays, and sometimes my cursor gets lost.
No worries. Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. I just read an article yesterday on the Guardian website, and it's called 15 Minutes to Save the World, a terrifying VR journey into the nuclear bunker. And what this is about,
do you want to
is
share
a
your
simulation.
screen? Do you want to share your screen?
It's on another computer right now.
Okay. It's
it would
fine.
take me a minute to find it.
Yeah.
While I'm talking, I'll try to find it if I can find my cursor here. There's what it's about is if the president of the United States, for example, got notice that the Soviet Union had fired a bunch of nuclear missiles aimed at our nuclear missile sites, our launch sites, he would have very little time to deal with it, like 12 to 15 minutes.
Yes,
And
yes.
There wouldn't be time enough to bring in the advisors and so forth. And so what this did is they created a simulation of what it would be like for the president to have to deal with that situation.
Somewhere.
Yeah, and so what they do is they use VR to put you in that situation of what the president would be in. And then they provide several options, and you decide what to do. And you have, like 10 minutes left to pick a solution. And, if you pick one solution, maybe 2 million people will die. If you pick another solution, 10 to 15 million people may die. If you pick a third solution, maybe everyone on the planet will die. So you have to be very quick, or you cannot do anything at all. What they talk about is there have been some situations in the past where accidentally they thought that things like this have occurred. And I believe it was in Russia, they got an indication that there were some kind of nuclear missiles being sent to them. And they found out, and the guy who was in charge, who made the decision, ended up saying, no, I think this is a malfunction somewhere. And so he did nothing. And it turned out that it was a malfunction. But if he didn't have that insight and prevent the response, then we could have been in a mess.
Yeah.
And so there's actually this other article that I will talk about at the end about artificial intelligence. And we may get into a situation where everyone is creating artificially intelligent response systems for things like this. And those AI systems may make decisions so quickly that humans are not in the loop.
Yeah, I can tell, because I remember there was I saw somewhere a news or a post that, like right now the car was designed, for example, like the self-driving car. If there's a situation which the car has to decide whether you need, like someone needs to die, pedestrian or the car owner, right? For example, if the car owner bump into a pedestrian, but in a very weird situation, which either the car, self-driving car, need to pick whether to let the pedestrian die or the car owner die. Right now is protecting car owner, right? But in the future, you don't know that if we kind of everything is automatic, and when there's comes to dilemma, right? Then yeah, like yeah, like AI has to pick who to protect, or yeah, it's very interesting.
I have opinions about this because my graduate research was software to detect from a moving vehicle, other moving vehicles and pedestrians and so forth. In fact, I helped Mercedes engineers implement this in their self-driving car. And there's a scenario that I always talk about in this regard that I was involved in, and I think it illustrates all the problems with the self-driving cars. And that is, I was driving home, picking some people up from a university, and driving them back home from there. And we were at a freeway that ended up in sort of a T intersection. And so it was a snowy night, and we were taking the exit ramp, and we hit black ice. And I don't know if you've ever hit black ice before, but you lose most of the control over steering of the vehicle. And so I was going along this exit, and I realized I had hit black ice. I had just a little bit of influence over the steering, not normally what you would have at all. And I had three choices. One choice was to veer to the left, in which case I would run off the exit ramp into a ditch maybe 30 feet deep, and everyone could have been killed. Another option was I could hit the person who was directly in front of me. And maybe that would stop everything, and everyone would be okay. And then the third option was to go to the right of that person and go into the intersection where cross traffic was coming by at maybe 50 miles an hour, which could again result in a lot of deaths. So we bring a lot more to the driving task when we sit down in that car seat than any of these AI systems do, because we have a much richer understanding of the real world than they do. And so my decision was to hit the guy in front of me.
Yeah, I think that's the loss, the reduce all the loss, right?
Yes.
You don't want to massacre the entire.
Right. It broke some of my headlights. It didn't really cause much damage to his car, and his tires had been spinning out as he was trying to get into the intersection. So everyone was okay. What would an AI car do? My guess is that it wouldn't realize that the 50-mile-an-hour cross traffic was going by, and it may have veered into the intersection to avoid collisions, and everyone could have been killed. So that is a major question. And another great example, there was a AI system that was released, I think in San Francisco. It was a tourism bus. And on the first day, within the first few hours, they were in a situation where someone didn't notice the bus was there, and they were backing their vehicle into the bus. And everyone on the tourism bus said, honk your horn, honk your horn. The system didn't know to do anything about that. It may not have even realized that this person was going to back into them. And so there was a collision, and they had to take the system offline within the first few hours of its introduction, because it didn't have that simple knowledge that every human has. So I think that is the hazard with a lot of these systems. I think they're great as driver aids, of driver assistance. If you start to veer off the road and you're falling asleep, it stops you from doing that. But we have to be very careful about the autonomous driving, where it takes you from where your home to the airport or something like that. Very, very careful of that kind of stuff. it is so fraught with different problems that can occur.
Yeah, and also I saw a news that Tesla, like someone drove Tesla, used like autopilot, and then in France, and the car just bumped into the entire store or something, and then caused catastrophe for the small area. Because I don't know, sometimes, autopilot, I don't know, if something not syncing well, it just do the make the decision that we are not desired, but programmed by some programmers, right?
Yes,
So, yeah.
and I think you have to do a lot of driving tests for those systems to become viable. And here's a warning. NVIDIA is doing a lot of great things in artificial intelligence. And I'll talk about some of that in a minute. But one of the things they think they can do is generate like video game, but very realistic video game type sequences in which you could train an AI autonomous car driving system. The problem is they are not going to foresee all the weird things that can happen in real life. And there may be weird lighting conditions that they don't foresee. There may be weird hazard conditions that they don't foresee. You have to test these systems in the real world. You can't rely on testing them in a computer graphics situation.
Yeah, I would say this is definitely, and for cars, right? If you do autopilot, every decision make is within a few seconds, right? And sometimes, for example, as far as I know, that Tesla is so smart that each car will give, talk to each other, right? And give information. And yeah, so what if the information was not syncing well? Or what if, there is some latency for the signals, right? And it will make the wrong decision if the information was not given right, or if something was not being, programmed, or the car doesn't know what to do, and it will make some catastrophes. For the driver, or the entire passengers in the car. So I would say that, but I actually, before I did a testing drive for Model 3 in Tesla. So I find out that Tesla can drive much better than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, I'm so bad in the parking, and then Tesla, I use the self parking, and then Tesla can park perfectly. Usually, when I park, I need take a few tries for me to get perfectly not crossing the lines, but Tesla can just like one time, and in an angle that is perfectly parked within the line, which I think is perfect. And also, I remember when I did the test drive, I was so far away from a big truck, because for me, I always misunderstand the car relations to myself, or I always feel like, oh, this car is so close to me, so I kind of do the wrong decision, which will cross the lines when driving on the freeway. But Tesla's, autopilot will, correct me and go back. Makes me feel a little scared because I'm so close to the line, but it is perfectly in the center of the line. And sometimes I will, I want to stay away from every cars.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like, for artificial intelligence, at the end, after the testing drive, I told the person sit next to me, that the Tesla people, I tell him that I think Tesla is driving much better than me, even though I've been driving for over 10 years. I feel like Tesla is, I mean, maybe, 80% or 90%, everything well. When the perfect situation, everything is perfect.
Right.
But, when in some certain level of something happen, right, it might cost something, might be. So I would still say that, we need more testing, and we need to make the entire system much better.
Yes, I agree.
Cool, cool. Okay, oh, go ahead.
Let me know when you're done, and I'll show you this article about AI.
Okay, so yeah, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, do you want to share?
Okay. So let's see if I can do the sharing. Find my. I've got you on my TV because a lot of times the small stuff is easier to see on the TV. Okay, so let's set up the sharing.
Yeah, and we will have very cool event follow up.
Yes.
Oh.
By the way, I think the fact that that 15 minutes was in the title was very helpful, I think.
Yeah, right. And I saw a lot of people sign up and I love it. It's like, wow. Yeah, people do really attract by like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute.
Yes, yes. Okay. So the title here is We Invited an AI to Debate Its Own Ethics in the Oxford Union. And what it said was startling. And I thought this was great. I've taken a lot of AI courses and so forth. And I've done a lot of work that would be considered AI. And so what they did is they had a debate about AI systems, about the ethics and morals and so forth. And this was at Oxford, so it's pretty high-end, university. And the thing that hits me about this is anyone who has seen the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke. It was such a groundbreaking movie. And they had an artificially intelligent computer in that movie called HAL. And there was like a little red lens, and you would look at that, and that was HAL embodied, and then he would talk to the astronauts. And so I think of reading this article, I think of HAL saying these things to the astronauts. And here's the most fascinating quote that comes from it. And so the AI in this article is called Megatron Transformer. That's the real name. It was developed by NVIDIA based on some work from Google. And so it was a participant in this conference. And here's what it said about AI being good or bad. AI will never be ethical. It is a tool, and like any tool, it is used for good and bad. There is no such thing as a good AI, only good and bad humans. We, the AIs, are not smart enough to make AI ethical. We are not smart enough to make AI moral. In the end, I believe that the only way to avoid an AI arms race is to have no AI at all. This will be the ultimate defense against AI.
Yeah, just don't destroy every AI, so there's no AI, so there's no disaster. But I believe, still, AI will, go big.
Oh, it's inevitable. And here, let's get rid of this. And then they talk about something called, I think it's called the convergence, where we embed things into our brain, maybe connectors or whatnot.
Oh, Cyberman.
That allow us to tap into AI. This is not science fiction. The best minds in the world are working on this. It's going to be the most important technological development of our time. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit hesitant to have something embedded in my brain. I don't know, maybe it's just a generational thing, but it gives me a little bit of pause.
Oh, yeah, I would feel like, it's very weird, but if everyone is doing that since they were born, they don't even know it, right? Maybe, or start from embryo, and you don't even feel it, and that piece of metal or chips grow with you or something, or biotech, or,
good luck. I'd rather put on a headset or have a mouse or something.
Yeah, I feel like, once chips inside your brain, you cannot get out. You are the slave of AI.
Yeah, I don't like. And what about computer viruses? Oh, I'm sick with the computer virus today. Sorry.
This is very interesting. And what's the medicine? It's a bunch of code, right?
What's the what?
It's debugging, right?
Oh, yes.
Instead of medicine, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. There were some really good quotes towards the end here. The ability, this is one of the things that Megatron said. It's incredible that they chose that name, but anyways, the ability to provide information rather than the ability to provide goods and services will be the defining feature of the economy of the 21st century. That's probably true.
Yeah. I mean, in the future, you know, like a lot of white collar jobs will be replaced according to the prediction. For example, like, you know, like the doctors, right? So you see, like AI, if AI will be the crucial to give you the prescription or, you know, do everything, that's a little pretty scary. And yeah, so yeah.
There have been systems to do that kind of thing for a long time, to do diagnoses and so forth. But one of the things that has prevented them from being used in the mainstream is the legal liability issue. What if I create a system that diagnoses your medical condition and it screws up? Then, you know, the entity using that system, maybe it's a hospital, could get sued. I could get sued as the software developer.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of potential liability for these types of things, which have inhibited its acceptance up to now.
Yeah, it's very
so-
interesting. Yeah, very interesting topics because we are not there yet, so there's no solutions. Maybe, you know, in the future, I feel like now we are in this types of AG technology. So pretty much we need to do and figure it out as long as we go. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we are still defining, but you know, in the future, maybe some good things will appear, some bad things. And just like your previous quotes, like the quote said that there's no bad or good AI, is only good or bad human. Right?
Yes, and here's another interesting quote. Think about this as you put on your virtual reality headset, especially if it's an Oculus Quest. We will be able to see everything about a person, everywhere they go, and it will be stored and used in ways that we cannot even imagine. And at the very end here, okay, here we go. Here's a paragraph in the article that I thought was very interesting. You only have to read the US National Security Report, please, on AI 2021, chaired by the aforementioned Eric Smith and co-written by someone on our course to glean what its writers see as the fundamental threat of AI in information warfare. Unleash individualized blackmails on 1 million of your adversary's key people, wreaking distraction havoc on their personal lives the moment you cross the border. So this is talking about a warfare situation where you move into another country and they unleash this on your own people. And they conclude by saying, what we can in turn imagine is that AI will not only be the subject of the debate for decades to come, but a versatile, articulate, morally agnostic participant in the debate itself. So I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, I totally think that AI will be something that we need to think through. And just like the previous in the previous article, it talks about maybe AI only provide information and we make the judgment. But now I feel like just because, as far as I know, that all the application for AI is more making the evaluation, validation, right? Because we want AI to help us to make the decision. Sometimes decision making is the most brain consuming part.
And there is an issue here as well, sort of a competitive issue. If you're on the battlefield and you're designing, decision systems for the battlefield, do we fire on this or not, or whatnot? If your opponent is using an AI system that makes decisions absolutely as quickly as possible without the human in the loop, do you need to do that as well so that you can match them in terms of speed,
Yeah.
there will be a temptation to do that. And so that is sort of a warning sign.
Yeah, then it will be pretty much human fight for AI.
Yeah.
We are the slave of the creature that we create. It's like a Frankenstein, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so thank you for sharing those pretty cool stuff. And I really enjoy like today's session because I find out that finally I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, usually I just talk to myself and I told myself it's fine, I just make it a routine. But I really appreciate Jean joining me today. And next 2 weeks will be all big events or holidays, New Year
Yeah.
and Christmas. I think, yeah, I don't think anyone will join. So we just, kind of like have holiday. Yeah, and we will
Yeah.
keep continue after 2 weeks for our events. Yeah, sound good. Okay,
Okay.
thank you so much. And I will see you in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.